Okay, well, 3/4 of the way through All the Way to the River by Elizabeth Gilbert, and I wanted to share a couple of the insights from the beginning and middle of the book because it's more like, when their relationship is like somewhat, outside of what ends up being sort of the dark part and of her illness. But so she touches upon two things that I think are common in most sort of intimate and very close relationships. The first one is sort of like her codependency and love addiction. And it does kind of explain, the impulse to like leave a marriage and like in this case, have a relationship with a woman. I think for the first time, I'm not sure if she established that. But either way, you know what I mean? It just seems very impulsive, but it also seems very like romantic and, a lot of things that I totally understand, but at the same time I don't relate to her because I'm perpetually single and kind of happy being alone. So but I still understand when she talks about codependency and how a lot of your self-worth is in sort of like other people, that I completely relate to. And then she sort of goes into one part of the sort of addiction aspect where she's with Rhea, and then she is like a sober person that is in like the program in AA and all of that, I think, or something like, a sober person, and she's taking bitters before every meal for her stomach, but bitters has a percentage of alcohol. And so some people had pointed it out within, their relationship, but it was never something that she necessarily looked at and thought, oh my God, like she's saying she's, sober, but she's literally consuming alcohol every day. And I think that that sort of speaks to, I think, how a lot of like, we turn off, I think, a lot of parts of our brain when we really care about somebody because, again, like a lot of the harsh truths, like it's easier to point them out in other people, but when you love somebody so much, you just don't want it to be true. So I think it's easy to sort of like overlook things like that in that type of relationship. But, overall, I really do think it does speak to like a really deep love story. And even though it is sort of like, insane in sort of like how it sort of comes about and, like what ends up happening in terms of like a terminal illness and all of these things, like it is very much grounded, I think, in a sense of sort of reality that I really, really appreciate.